Hey there, this is Jonathan, and in the following tutorial, we're going to learn about the image size dialog box in Photoshop. Now, the first thing that we need to do is get our images into Photoshop. So one of the things that you can do is you can do Control Open when you're in Photoshop, but that's kind of hard to find the files that you need. One of the things that I see people do often is they open up the Photoshop document, our software, and then the folder, and drag it in. And that certainly is doable, but here's another trick that you might want to be aware of. I'm going to go ahead and close that and take this and drag it down to the Photoshop icon and drag it back up, and it's an easy way to pull it in as well. Now, another way that you might consider finding your files is using Adobe Bridge. If you can locate the folder, you can right-click on that folder and then choose Open with Adobe Bridge, or Browse with Adobe Bridge. And Adobe Bridge is a great multimedia viewer that works awesome for Photoshop files, Illustrator files, InDesign files, and of course, static images as well. And all you have to do once they're in here is, of course, you can change the different types of views that you have for these images. You can change your thumbnail sizes, which is really nice. And you can just double click on an image to bring it open in Photoshop. Once you have an image in here, we have to start going through the basic tasks. The first thing that we want to do, of course, is create that resizing images, so it's ready for us to put our files into that. And the first image that we need to resize, they want us to change, or I want you to change the resolution to 300 dots per inch, or rather pixels per inch. So we'll change this to 300, and you'll notice that it's made it a pretty large image. In fact, it's making it really, really big. And that's because I have this resample button on. And I might not have wanted that to be on. If you did have it on, what you want to remember is you always want to change your resolution first and then your width and height dimensions. And so this should be 5 inches by 300 pixels per inch. Now, you'll notice that what happened is it didn't actually change the size of this file at all because I already had a 1500 pixel wide image. And that means that 5 times 300 equals 1500. And that's how you figure out your pixel dimensions. Now that we've done that, we've made it 300 pixels per inch. We'll click OK, and we're ready to save this as our first image. I'm going to save it into my Resizing Images folder, and I'm going to save it as a copy. And I'm going to change the file name so it also includes 300 ppi in the file name itself. Excellent. Now you'll notice that that has not changed the name of the original file. Because I used Save As, I actually have the ability to revert back and open up the original file. Didn't make a difference here, but it will after the next image. In the next one, I'm going to go to image size, and instead of making it 300 pixels per inch, I'm supposed to make this 150 pixels per inch at 5 inches. You'll notice that this will actually make the document a smaller size because 5 times 150 is only 750 pixels instead of it being 1500 pixels. So we'll click OK, and you'll see that our image did reduce in size. Now I'll do File, Save As, and it's going to be saving as a copy back into the Resizing Images folder. And this one, just to make the naming easy, I'll click on the original name and change it to 150 ppi and hit Save. Now, when I go back to File, Revert, you'll notice that my image size gets big again. Now, truth be told, we could probably just keep one image and keep on reducing the size for all the different tasks here. But the reason that we'd want to go back to Revert is that you want to always start with the best quality image before you do any kind of scaling. If you take a big image and you make it smaller and then you continue to make it smaller, you have less information for it to figure out how that even smaller version should be, and you're always reducing the quality a little bit anytime you scale down. So always start with the largest image size that you have in order to get the best quality work. Now our next one is supposed to be 500 pixels wide at 7200 pixels. 72 pixels per inch. So now we can keep it at 72, and we're going to change this to only 500 pixels. So instead of doing inches, I'll go to pixels, change this to 500, and you'll see we're making a much smaller image. Now we'll do File, Save As. Same thing as before, we'll do a copy, and this one is just going to be 500 pixels. I'm going to hit Revert with F12 and do the next image. The next image is going to be 100 pixels tall at 72 pixels per inch. So I'll do image size, and it's going to be only 100 pixels tall at 72. So this is going to be 180 by 100. Beautiful. Now we'll do File, Save As. And that'll be 100H for 100 high. We do F12 to revert. Oh, I messed up. I actually did save and didn't do save as copy. So I'm going to have to close this and go back to the original image to open it back up. Sometimes I will mess that up. Now this one is a little bit different. In this one, we're going to do a manual cropping of the file to only 300 pixels by 300 pixels. So I want to go to Image, Image Size, and I want to take either one, which is the smallest number, and change that to 300. I want to make sure that the other image is larger than 300. Now, once that's been scaled down, now I go to Image, Canvas Size, and now we cut off the other pixels on the left and right using the canvas size instead of image size. Now, the reason we would not want to use image size is that it would squeeze our image. And here's what I mean. If I went to image size and I said, well, let's turn this off, and I'm going to change that to 300, you'll see it's actually going to squeeze my image in, and that is not what we want to do. So we have to make sure that we use canvas size and change it to 300 pixels by 300 pixels here instead of using image size. And that's our next image, and we'll save this as .300 by 300. Once we're done with this, that is the last task in these images. If you have any questions, let me know. Talk to you later.